Could you just expand upon the four pillars that you've identified?
Sure. So what I did was I interviewed people over 75 years old who could say, "Oh, my life has been meaningful. I could die tomorrow and I would be perfectly content." And I'd want to talk to those people. And I interviewed them, and I still interview them on airplanes or wherever I can. It's just so amazing to have these conversations. And I did what was called a phenomenological study. So that means I would interview them and I would pull out the common threads. Like what are they all saying? What are they all feeling? What do they all have in common? And I found that there's these four pillars. The first one is a spiritual practice or spirituality. It didn't matter if a person was a certain religion or had a certain spiritual practice, or even if they were atheist or agnostic. But as long as they had a sense of peace and understanding of what they believed their own spirituality was and what that meant to them, then it was okay. Like every single person that I spoke with had some sort of spiritual belief that they held on to. It was always different, so many different spiritual paths, but it does bring a lot of peace. And I've experienced it when people don't have that at the end of life. And it can be really one of the biggest causes of distress and upset. And then the next one is intention. Like all the people I interviewed lived intentional lives. They set goals. They practiced gratitude. They had a positive attitude when it was appropriate. They forgave people when they were ready and when it was appropriate. They accepted themselves, their flaws. A lot of times we spend our lives picking out things that we don't like about ourselves. And as you age, it's kind of
Yeah.
weird in a way. I've never really talked about this before, but I find it weird how you kind of change physically, like you're aging. So you're not like young, but you sort of start to feel more beautiful inside as you age. And so that's just one of the things that I love in working with older people, is because people start accepting themselves and loving themselves and being more kind to themselves. So that's just about having a life of intention. And then the third one, so one that most people would think is the most obvious pillar of a meaningful life, which is love and relationships. And truly, that's a big pillar. It's who are those people that are around your bedside when you take your final breath? Who are the people who've walked by your side through the good times and the hard times? And it's really about, and that you really have cultivated these relationships over the course of your life. And then the fourth pillar, which to me is really one that is meaningful in that it makes a difference in people's legacies and how they feel at the end of their life, is about charity and contribution. Like, did I make a difference? Is the world a better place because I was here? And when we talk about that, and when I talked about it with the people I interviewed, nobody built hospital wings. Nobody erected monuments in, honor of anything. It was just simple, everyday goodness that I'm talking about. You make a difference when you say thank you. You make a difference when you hold the door for someone. You make a difference when you cook a meal and take it to someone who's sick. It's so much about what we do every day. It's not the big, explosive firework moments. It's about everyday kindness.